This video is brought to you by that weird nauseous feeling you sometimes get when you're in an elevator. You know, it's kind of like a head spin. I don't really know how to explain it, but I don't like it. Okay, like all movies, Disney's Marvel's James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 has a number of scenes and concepts that didn't make it into the final cut. And spoilers, the idea here is to get into all of that, as well as a little bit of insight into the making of the film, some unused concepts, also to show some clips that didn't end up appearing, how a character that died wasn't initially going to, and talking about the future of the series. Namely, Marvel's James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 Disney. Also, stick around to the end if you want to win a loot crate, or, you know, bugger off at any point. It's your call. Work on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 started for James Gunn, or at the very least the writing of it, the day that Part 1 was released, as a way to distract himself from the pressures of such a huge theatrical endeavor.
I started writing the screenplay on the day the first movie came out, and I think that to distract myself from thinking about box office and numbers and all of this stuff, I just got right into the story writing process on this one.
The thing about this is, though, he already had some of an idea in terms of what the story was going to be, as he'd set up the relationship between Peter Quill and Yondu all the way back in 2014, knowing what certain revelations would be.
I also knew a lot before I ever even started shooting, while I was writing the first screenplay, about the background of Peter Quill and Yondu and all of that. So I knew what the general shape of the sequel was going to be. I think the thing
Gunn has also offered some insight into how he goes about selecting a song for the movies, and how the process isn't as simple as, say, slapping whatever pop tune over a certain sequence. Because for him, it's as much a part of the filmmaking process as, say, another important part of the filmmaking process. Maybe the lighting or whatever, I don't know.
I have a list of like maybe 500 songs that are Guardians-like songs. Yeah. And when I'm going through the script, if I feel there's a need for a song in a scene, I'll go through that list and I'll write it into the screenplay. Sometimes the song I need isn't on that list and I'll have to go searching for something new. But basically, I do it very organically. They're all baked into the structure of the story, like ingredients in a cake.
We've also got to look at some alternate designs for certain characters. The main cast, they weren't changed up all that much, aside from Groot, of course. But here we've got an early version of Mantis with green skin, like the current version of the comics does. Stallone's Starhawk with a helmet that again more closely resembles the comics. And these early images of Baby Groot by Josh Herman include one where he's holding a bottle, one of him having pulled the ribbon out of the Volume 1 mixtape, and another with him with a stuffed raccoon. Baby Groot, though, wasn't always to be Baby Groot. Gunn has stated that he wrestled with the idea of how to include the character again as an adult, seeing as what happened to him in the last movie, before he settled on a younger version. It also looks as if what influenced him to do that was a fan reaction to the character at the end of the last film.
You know, the fact that Baby Groot was on screen for a total of a minute at most at the end of the movie, and he became kind of the breakout star from the first movie, made me think, hey, maybe I should do something a little more with this character.
Now, as far as what was cut from the project, there's not a whole lot, and as James Gunn put it, what's missing is a result of him trimming down certain sequences, as opposed to just taking huge chunks out of the project.
So I think it was, what we cut mostly was just fat. I think we only cut one short scene, maybe two short scenes in the movie.
There was, though, an additional Earth sequence that featured Grandpa Quill that didn't make it in. That looked to have a whole stack of Easter eggs that he disclosed might be showing up in the Blu-ray, but more likely on his social media.
Unfortunately, we had a sort of terrible cutting of, one of our scenes we cut was with Grandpa Quill on Earth, and we had a lot of Easter eggs in that scene. As many as we had in the Collector's Museum, probably more.
We don't know what exactly these Easter eggs were going to be, but at one point there was to be the inclusion of Nathan Fillion as Simon Williams, or at the very least, some background images of him. Simon Williams, also known as Wonder Man, is a sometimes Avenger, sometimes actor, and from some on-set photos, it appears that he's somewhat of a movie star in the Marvel Universe. These images show that there was going to be a Simon Williams film festival that was going to be showing a film called Tony Stark, a kind of Steve Jobs-style biopic, Haxan 2, a sequel to the 1922 Swedish-Danish documentary-style horror film that explores the history of Satanism, witchcraft, and demonology. Oh, Rebecca, presumably some kind of rom-com, probably with Katherine Heigl. Toxic Janitor 2, a nod towards Troma's The Toxic Avenger, a company Gunn used to work with. And Archon, a Conan the Barbarian knockoff. Nathan Fillion shared this post on social media that has him piloting the Milano. However, it was clarified that this was just him mucking about, and there was never any intention that anything like this would be appearing in the final film. Yondu, in the early drafts of the script, was also going to make it through the entire film. The director admitted that he didn't want Yondu's death to be the ending, and refused to make it such for a long time. But then it turned out, at the end of the day, he knew that that's where he needed to go so that there'd be real stakes in the movie. He went on to say that for some characters to make a difference, to really make their lives mean something, you need to have these kind of losses. There was also supposed to be a 6th post-credits scene where Ravager Jeff, spelt G-E-F, was revealed to be on the ship the entire time, and he was just hanging in there despite being mortally wounded by Yondu's arrow. Gunn said though it ended up being a little confusing, so it was cut. Now I don't have any footage of that, but what I do have is footage from 4 scenes. Not exclusive, you can find all of these if you do a quick search, because I don't have any inroads on this project. I'm nobody. I mean, I know that, everybody's somebody, but what I'm saying is I'm no variety website or magazine, if magazines are still a thing. Anyways, here are the scenes. Bearing in mind, some of them are just slight extensions of scenes that we've already seen, because like Gunn said, a lot of the edits were just to trim down the fat.
Garden of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Why would we be the Gardens of the Galaxy?
So stupid. Look out! Oh, wow. I tried, guys. Oh, wow. I know. That almost hit me.
Dude.
What?
Dude.
What?
I get it, yes. I am a dancer, Gamora is not.
You just need to find a woman who is pathetic. Like you.
Thanks, buddy.
Do you need a hug?
No, I do not.
Oh, I thought I said no. You're welcome.
Now the final post-credits stinger reveals the creation of Adam Warlock. Funnily enough, Adam Warlock was supposed to feature heavily in this film.
In an early draft, there was one of your favorite Guardians that didn't make it to the film.
it's the Guardian who's teased at the end of the
Oh, okay,
movie. So
okay.
That was a fuller story in 2, and I thought I'd save it for a future film.
I don't know this for a fact, but presumably he's who the Sovereign ended up sending after the Guardians instead of that remote-controlled fleet. Gunn said, you know what, I feel like I'm saying a lot of variations on Gunn said in this video. But you know what, he did say it. He said all of these things. What do you want from me? Okay, so Gunn mused that he adored what the team had done with Adam Warlock and that they did something creative and unique with him. But it ended up being one character too many, and he didn't want to lose Mantis, as Mantis was more organically part of the film anyways, so they decided to save him for later. And that brings me to part 3. Now there's bits and pieces of information about this project that we already know. For one, Adam Warlock will probably play a big role.
Adam Warlock, does he have a long-term future in the MCU, do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect.
Also, Elizabeth Debicki will be back as Aisha, as Gunn really loved working with her. We also know that Volume 3 will bring about an ending for the Guardians of the Galaxy. In a way. Let's do a clip of that.
So is the third one the final one then, for sure?
It'll be the final in this iteration of the Guardians of the Galaxy, yes.
And we can continue the story elsewhere?
I mean, who knows who will take up the mantle after that?
He's also elaborated on this in a statement on his Facebook. He said that much of what's happening in the MCU for the past 10 or so years has been leading, in a big way, to Avengers Infinity War. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will take place after that. It will conclude with the story of this iteration of the Guardians of the Galaxy and will help catapult both the old and new Marvel characters into the next 10 years and beyond. I'll be working side by side with Kevin Feige and the gang to help design where the stories go and make sure the future of the Marvel Cosmic Universe is as special and authentic and magical as what we have created so far. I promise you, the fans, I'll do it with integrity and love and respect for the characters. Also, the original Guardians team led by Stallone will also be making some kind of appearance. I'm assuming in Volume 3, and I guess it's possible that some of those characters will bleed over into Part 4 and maybe even become part of the new team. Perhaps Adam Warlock will join them also. Gunn has also clarified that he has been working on Part 3 for a long time. So there you go. Now, if you like loot crates, or even if you don't, you're able to win one like this person. If you are this person, just private message me these details and I'll sort it out. And if you're after next week's box, just leave any comment below, perhaps on a deleted scene or a missing character from the film that you'd have liked to have seen included, or even something that you'd like to see happen in Guardians 3 or 4 Or 5, but not 6. Don't be an idiot. Also have a podcast called The Weekly Planet. It's out every Monday. And on that, we always talk movies and comics and TV shows. It's linked below. Give it a listen if you dare. And bearing in mind, if you don't, that means you have a coward's heart. Nah, not really. You're alright. But thanks for watching this though. I appreciate it. Take care.